global environmentalist Gus Speth has moved to Vermont about 10 years ago, and it has left impressions on him. And in his latest book that is called Angels by the River, he's written some really interesting stuff about Vermont. Would you read that for us?
Thank you. I'd be delighted. My wife Cameron and I have moved north 4 times, each time further up the eastern seaboard, to the point that we are now just shy of Canada. Places are shaped by their histories. As Faulkner said, the past is never dead, it's not even past. Our fine neighbors here in central Vermont, the Roots, have been here for 9 generations, since the town of Stratford was founded. Our stories are so very different. One might think Cameron and I would be terribly out of place, but here's the revelation. Not since Orangeburg in 1960 have we felt so much at home as we do here in Vermont. It's not merely that we've been welcomed warmly, or that we like Vermont's politics, or that the state is strikingly beautiful. It's all those things. But it's also the startling realization that we have found here a place close kin to the South for which we hoped and dreamed. Can we look again at what Louis Rubin said about Southern life, writing in the late 1950s? He describes a people that did not place this reliance on the material goods of life, but upon the values of individuality and self-reliance and community, a life which did not allow getting and spending to interfere with leisurely, relaxed living, the way of life which permitted a man to enjoy himself, to know the satisfaction of something, of being more than a cog in a machine. At its heart, it was an historical sense of life, an instinctive realization that man was not a creature of chance in the moment. It was life emphasized the right relationship of man to nature and the essential dependence of man on nature. It was a life of the spirit as well as the flesh, which provided in its makeup for the recognition of the values of the spirit. Well, that's about how one might describe Vermont, as robust a description as any such generalization. Many in Vermont would see themselves in this description, in their habits of thought and their aspirations for themselves and their families. The big change one would have to make would be to delete the part about leisurely, relaxed living. Vermonters are a hardworking lot and determined to get a good job done. I was on our small Vermont hill when Hurricane Irene came through. Cameron was in Washington, D.C. helping with the grandchildren. Vermont, as many will remember, got tons of rain. Countless roads and bridges were washed out, towns isolated, and covered bridges carried away downstream. In its wake, Vermonters quietly got out their trucks and tractors and plows and backhoes, huddled, and made a few plans and started rebuilding their communities, expecting nothing but what they had before. There were giant gashes that would take a year or more to fix, but within a few days of Irene, Vermonters had cared for each other and fixed up most of the damage. We were quietly functional again. I walked down our hill when the rains finally stopped and found a stretch of our road totally washed out. By the following day, it was repaired. Of course, Vermont's not perfect. Vermont has the second lowest percentage of minorities in the United States, and it could benefit from a more diverse population. But I do believe that we have settled into a place that has a sense of community, a resonance with nature, an embrace of values beyond materialism, and other admirable qualities worth promoting north and south.
We are so glad you moved to Vermont and were able to make that connection between the best of the South and the state that I also love. Thank you so much, Gus Speth.
Thank you.